The Wynn Resort and Casino strives to give guests a luxurious experience while also entertainment. This mission also includes providing personalized experience and setting a new global standards for resorts around the world. Throughout the website, you will see many statements and services that cater to that luxury experience. For example, their core values are service driven, excellence, and also progressive and innovative. They strive on giving people that experience and to set a certain standard. Their culture also shows this in their statement that says only people can make people happy. One of the issues that were present was the lack of properties. On the website, you can see that they only have 5 resorts, which is way less than their competitors. Another issue is the high operating costs. In order to keep up with a luxurious experience, you have to pay a lot of money out. And I believe that because they don't own a lot of resorts, they are missing out on the chance to get that extra revenue. Another issue is the economic downturns that could happen. Like, for example, if another Great Depression happened, or if some type of financial issue happens in the world, people are not going to be looking for a luxurious experience, or people are going to be looking for something more, I guess you could say, money managed than a luxurious resort. So I believe all those issues tie into what Wynn can do to expand their opportunities and also expand their locations. So overall, I believe expansion would help fix a lot of the problems that the resort face. For example, it would give them a footing with their competitors, who are MGM and Caesar Palace. They have locations all around the world and all around the United States, but this resort doesn't. So I believe that would give them an equal footing. I also think it would help with financial and net income, because they will be able to get revenue from different places, attract different audience, let their name be known, and also maybe they can bring up new ideas, or they might bring up ideas that will only cater to that place. Either way it goes, it helps and it makes every place unique.
Tyler. So as we talked about Wynn Resort and Casino, they have 3 recommended solutions that we discussed. The first one is expansion into new high demand markets. That involves a lot of capital, a lot of years of market research, have to make sure you expand into the right markets, right region, state, or even country. What's their political views? What's their culture? Are you impeding on something that's sacred to the locals over there? Um, There's also something about forming a joint venture partnership, right, with existing luxury resorts, basically just combining, joining forces. Depending on whom acquires whom, that may or may not be a good idea. If you're acquired by somebody else or you're joining forces with them, then maybe you have to go to their brand, to their culture. I think Wynn would like to keep their own culture, their own brand. That's what keeps their guests coming back. So that's a solution, but may not be the best solution. But Wynn is also um, identified that they need to diversify because there are 2 main resorts, the one in Las Vegas and the ones in Macau, China. Basically, that's where the majority of their revenue comes from, right? So there is a need to diversify. And of course, the last recommended solution, would be to the development of smaller boutique style properties. Would produce revenue, would diversify, give you more of a footprint, but it's not really what Wynn is. Wynn is the resort, the bells and whistles and so on and so forth, not the smaller boutique. That may be something that you look at 10, 15 years down the line. Now, we talk about the functional and non-functional requirements, and I won't go through all of them, but just a couple. So the functional requirements, it must enhance guest experience by improving service. All right, that's a that's a non-starter. Must align with Wynn's luxury brand standards, and probably one of the most important ones, if not the most important, cannot have any negative impacts to guest privacy, safety, or service quality. And the non-functional there to my right, you'll see, let's go through a couple of these. You have to demonstrate operational reliability. And of course, the end result, the final product, must consistently deliver measurable guest satisfaction. And we'll end it with the product scope, not to be confused with work scope. And as you can see there, as far as the largest resorts or the largest hotels by room count in Las Vegas, Wynn is number 8. Maybe not a place you want to be, but this is Win and Encore combined, and they're in eighth place. So you have to make sure, like we said before, expand to a new high demand luxury market in order to improve your position, have more rooms, right? And diversify. You have to have extensive market research. There's got to be a stakeholder analysis, right? The ones making the decisions, the ones providing the capital. And is it financially feasible? There's going to be some implementation recommendations, and of course, risk management. Is it all worth it? And if it is, at what cost?
So this next slide that we'll be covering is the work breakdown structure. The work breakdown structure is covered into 6 different parts. Step 1 being the project initiation. This is where you will go over the objectives, the stakeholders involved, and approve on final decisions. After that, step 2 will be your research and analysis. This is where you will look over your company, of course, your competitors, your SWOT analysis, and your main issues, the problem. Step 3 is going to be your market evaluation. That's where you're going to look over your market, how the market trends are doing, demand, and of course, the risks as well that are involved. Step 4 will be solution development. Here's where we're going to look at your alternatives and your best options to those problems that you identified initially in step 2. Step 5 is going to be your financial analysis. It's where you're going to look at your cost revenue, your resources, and your feasibility. And finally, step 6 is your final deliverable. What is your proposal? Has it been reviewed? And of course, at the end of the day, you do have to present it as well.
Hi everyone, my name is Kayvon, and on this slide I'm explaining the project sequencing for the Wynn Resorts expansion project. The project begins with creating the project character, which defines the project's goals and objectives. Next, the team completes market research along with competitor and customer analysts to understand the opportunity. After collecting that information, a financial feasibility study and risk assessment are completed to determine if the project is practical, basically. Then the team develops the expansion strategy, prepares the final proposal, and presents it for executive review. Once leadership approves the proposal, the project is considered complete. This sequence helps ensure that each step is completed before moving on to the next. This slide explains how we keep stakeholders informed throughout this project. Our key stakeholders include executive leadership, department managers, employees, guests, vendors, and investors. Since each group has a different responsibility, they also receive different types of communication. We use meetings, executive briefing, emails, email updates, reports, surveys, and training sessions. Communication also helps at different times, such as weekly, monthly, quarterly, and continuously for guests. Having a communication plan helps everyone stay informed, improve teamwork, and reduces misunderstanding during the project. This slide focuses on project scope success. The main deliverable is a strategic expansion plan that recommends a new luxury market for Wynn Resorts. The plan includes market research, financial analysts, risk management, and recommendations. Before the project is accepted, several tests are completed, including model room inspections, maintenance walkthroughs, IT system testing, and department reviews to make sure everything meets Wynn's quality standards. The project will be considered successful if it is completed on time, stays within the budget, achieves strong marketing results, hires enough staff before opening, and provides an excellent guest experience for all.
Okay, so I will be going over the project management success. Overall, what we try to manage and look over while we were talking about this project is the cost. We try to stay at least below 10% or less over budget. We'll try to keep scheduling on point, ensuring no delays, no major delays. And when we say no major delays, it's at least no more than 1 week. Overall, we look at the scope of things, ensuring that everything that we had on our to-do list, our approved deliverables are completed. Stakeholder satisfaction. When we talk about this, it's ensuring that we have positive feedback, positive reviews, and that threshold or that minimum that we need to reach is at least 80% of positive feedback. And then overall, that's measured using financial reports, milestone tracking, scope validations, and stakeholder surveys. Last slide that I will be covering is going to be your expected outcome measurements. Now, this is measured in three different basically steps. First one is your benefits, your disbenefits, and then your measurement and review, sorry. In your benefits, you're going to go over your guest satisfaction surveys, your revenue growth compared to baseline community, and lastly, the community engagement metrics. Now, for disbenefits, you're definitely going to go over your budget variance, what's been positive, what's been negative during your different types of quarters, different months, and overall year over year. You're going to look over your operational cost, and of course, any environmental or traffic feedback that has been tracked. Lastly, in your measurement and review sections, you're going to look over your monthly KPI reviews, post-project evaluations, financial reports, and of course, your stakeholder feedback at the end of the year.